Most of us have been attending meetings for years, some decades, others for our entire life. But isn't it good to stop and pause from time to time and think to ourselves and ask ourselves, why am I attending meetings?
Hello there. Not you again. What do you want? Have you ever taken the time to think for yourself and to yourself why you're really playing that video game? Yes. And? It's fun. I enjoy it. But are you sure that you've really taken the time to think that it's good for you to be playing that video game? Yes, I have. I'm just here asking questions, but might I suggest that you take a little bit more time to think for yourself why you're playing that video game and maybe consider the possibility that it could be harmful to you. Have you thought about that? Well, what I really see here is you trying to manipulate me. See, I can make a personal choice and a decision. As you suggested, I should think for myself. And you immediately tried to get me to see it from your point of view because you don't think it's a good idea, so therefore I shouldn't play it. But as I've said, I've taken the time to think about it, and you are just wrong and trying to manipulate me. Do you think it's okay to be honest, I think people? You're being a little over dramatic here. How is it being dramatic that you're trying to manipulate me and making it seem like I came up with that decision on my own? I'm just gonna head out now. Bye. Yeah, I think that'll be best for both of us. See ya. Happy feet. Wombo combo. Oh!
It seems like such a simple, basic question, but how profound, because it has huge meaning for us. It really shows our motives inside, and it shows our goals. It affects our relationship with Jehovah as well as others.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Manipulation 101. First off, you're going to want your victim to start questioning themselves. So ask them some questions, sort of like, have you really thought about how, your actions might be affecting other people? And then slowly incept the idea that it has this more profound meaning. Wow, don't you know that this is going to affect your relationship with, God? And your future and other people are being affected by your actions, and you really need to take the time to evaluate those. Then once you get them questioning themselves sufficiently, you can go in and say, hey, I have your prescription because I am the manipulation doctor here. Welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today we are going to be looking at another morning worship talk. This one, I think, is in a long line of things we've been seeing over the last few weeks and months about how Watchtower is getting quite desperate. After the pandemic, people didn't want to go out in the ministry. People didn't want to go to the meetings. People don't want to be Jehovah's Witnesses anymore.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And I think they're feeling it. And so with every one of these videos that gets released on jw.org, it's like a tiny act of desperation, and I'm here for it. Don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, and let's do this thing.
Reasons to attend meetings. As shown on the monitor, the box listed 8 reasons, and they were grouped into 3 basic categories. The first, how you are personally affected. So we receive education at the meetings, so encouragement. They bring us closer to Jehovah through his Holy Spirit, and we can tap into that powerful Spirit. The second area is how others are affected. So we have an opportunity to show our brothers and sisters that we love them and we want to encourage them.
Well, let's look at these real briefly. They educate us. Do the meetings educate Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, as a former Jehovah's Witness and someone that's attended a lot of meetings, I can definitively say, no, they do not. Because before you go to the meeting, you are supposed to study for said meeting. Therefore, you are gaining nothing extra by going to the meeting. You're only repeating the thing that you've already studied. And that thing that you already studied was something that's been written about for the last 100 years. Now, the second part, they encourage us. I would like to submit that it's not really encouraging, because going to a kingdom hall is walking into a thunderdome of judgment. You will get judged on what you're wearing, how early you showed up, where you're sitting, whether or not you gave comments, how many comments you gave, the quality of those comments after the meeting. You'll get judged on whether or not you're doing any assignments, handing out literature or territories, whether or not you're participating in the cleaning, whether or not you're taking an elderly person home because they don't have a car. You will just be judged from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave. All eyes are on you, and you're constantly being judged. Now, this last one here about they bring us under the influence of the Holy Spirit. This one is particularly manipulative, because this is something that all Christians or all Jehovah's Witnesses essentially want. They want to be in line with God's Spirit, and saying, well, this is the only place that you're going to get God's Holy Spirit. Where you'll have another church across the street or down the road saying, no, this is where you're going to get the Holy Spirit. And another one saying, this is where you're going to get the Holy Spirit. If you're just going to take, it from a Christian or a biblical perspective, it would appear that there are a lot of different ways in order to get God's Holy Spirit, and you don't need to specifically go to a Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall.
But if you were to rearrange these, how would you put these in order of importance? Isn't it true that worshiping Jehovah is the most important reason why we go to the Kingdom Hall?
Now, this is one of those things I like to call what it means to be a Jehovah's Witness. And the picture is painted so clear throughout this talk. Hey, have you taken the time to personally think about this thing? Okay, well, here's all of the reasons why we go to meetings, right? No doubt these are the reasons you came up with. But now let's rearrange these and make sure we have our priorities, because don't you agree that that is the most important reason? That's at the top of the priority list. It's always the same formula with Watchtower. They try and infect your mind and say, now, really, you take the time to think about this. Then they give you their viewpoint on it and say, don't you agree? And because the don't you agree comes in the form of the most important thing in someone's life, that is their relationship with their creator, their life literally depends upon it. The lives of their neighbors and children depend upon them following God's commands. Obviously, that's going to be the most important thing. So they take that and use that as a springboard to get you to the Kingdom Hall. To get you to show up to the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall. They hijack people's spirituality and use it for profit. Now, the other aspect of this, if going to worship at a Kingdom Hall is so important, and as he's saying, it is, a way that we can worship Jehovah, we're giving him what he deserves. Why are they selling Kingdom Halls at the rate they are? I looked the other day, and my parents went from a 3 to 5 minute drive to a 30 to 45 minute drive because the Kingdom Hall that they attended was sold. And they live in an area that had a lot of people that attended that Kingdom Hall. And I just am blown away by how they can say, yes, the meetings, they're so important, but not as important as our profits? Not as important as cash? Are you kidding me? A Jehovah's Witness that is now forced to drive maybe an hour and a half to get to the meeting is being told that we're giving Jehovah what he deserves. What about Jehovah? What about the organization? Shouldn't they then, as a billion-dollar international corporation, give the people what they deserve, what they pay for? These Kingdom Halls are paid for by the local brothers and sisters. They pay for it themselves. Watchtower sells it and keeps the profit. Oh, but it's so important to Jehovah that you attend the meetings. They are speedrunning apostasy. Watchtower is absolutely driving people out of the organization because of dumb decisions like this.
We can also show appreciation for the many provisions that are available to Jehovah's organization today, like our Revised Bible. What a treasure that is for us. And then we have the Study Bible with all those study notes, the videos, the pictures, the charts, all of these helping us visual people to understand what Jehovah's righteous ways are, how he wants us to act and serve him. We also have the many printed publications. We have jw.org, JW Broadcasting, and the beautiful music and videos that are being produced for our benefit today.
Now, most of you guys are probably going to be aware of how I feel about this new Bible. It's a joke, wrapped inside a meme that's packaged in a jack-in-a-box. It's laughably bad, and it's really manipulative in a lot of very important areas, as I've talked about in previous videos in the past. Now, one thing that I do find funny here that I am going to be talking about in a video coming up is how they're talking about the JW broadcast and the videos and how wonderful and how we need to really appreciate these spiritual gifts that we have. Did you know that they've actually taken down some of the JW broadcasting episodes? If you go back in the sacred archive, you're going to find some are missing. It would appear that not everything needs to be appreciated. Not all of this spiritual food needs to be appreciated, because it turns out some of it was kind of embarrassing.
Now, thinking about it, just a really simple illustration, many of us have a phone. Some of us have these things called smartphones. You need to be smart to even use these smartphones. But it takes time, it takes effort to learn all the different features on these phones. They can take pictures, videos, we can study on these, we can go onto the internet, we can do all kinds of wonderful things. We could talk to our families through Skype or different means. We can talk, use it as a phone. How amazing. But with all these things, what is needed on our part? First of all, we need to understand how to use it, right? And this phone or some of these tablets would never work if we would not plug it in to a power source. It has to be charged in order to be useful to us.
Sometimes when I'm perusing the comment section of a particular video, I will see someone saying, "Where can I watch this full video?" Sometimes I like to keep clips like this in here just so you guys can realize you ain't missing much. Oh my God, yes, that's what you're missing when the evil apostate Wally comes along with his manipulative ways trying to deceive you so you don't get God's message. You're missing out on great illustrations where Ronald here tells you that a phone can be a phone, but in order for it to be a phone, it's gotta be plugged in. Boy howdy, I feel the Spirit of God descending upon me, and I'm one of the 144,000 now. Yeehaw.
And isn't that the same when we think about what we need to do for Jehovah? We need to be at the meetings. We need to understand what he wants us to do, to work in accord with his will, his purposes. But we also need to plug ourselves into his powerful Holy Spirit. And if we do that, we will be able to give Jehovah the worship he deserves. We will benefit, and then we will be beneficial to others.
And thus ends another Watchtower video where they are trying to hijack people's spirituality and say, no, well, he's finally arrived, for all of you wondering. Yes, if you want to be a spiritual person, if you want to be God's friend, if you want to make God happy, you need to show up to the Kingdom Hall. The Kingdom Hall that may or may not be 30 or 40 miles from you right now. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of whatever the heck this was, and I will see you next time.